Yo, what's up guys, it's Riley here again. Today I'm going to be relocating my battery in the 240 because I need the room for the intercooler piping. And I'm trying to get this kind of stuff out of the way before I start pulling the motor, just so that it's easier once I get there. So I picked up the Twisted Motion battery relocation kit. It was like $55 shipped, so not bad. We got the 0 gauge wire, the power wire, which is like 17 feet, and the ground, which is like, says it's like 3 feet. It doesn't look quite that long. Some accessory wire, and then let's see, we got like the clamps for the grounds and stuff, and then as well as the fuse. So it's a 200 amp. It should be able to hold the power, no problem, but there were a couple things that I needed to buy, just because I'd prefer to have better battery terminal clamps. These are for 0 to 4 gauge from AutoZone. There's like $5 a pop. Got 2 of them. I got this battery box. It's like a marine battery box. Got it from Walmart for like 10 bucks. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the front bumper and the fender. All right, let's get started. So I'm working on taking the fender off, right? Yeah, so I guess the prior owner has been putting the jack stands on the pinch welds, and now this bolt, like the very last bolt to take off the fender, is bent in half. So the fender's finally off, and now I'm going to take off the ground so I can finally get started with relocating the battery and tucking the wire. The reason why I took off the fender is because you can tuck the wire all the way through the interior, and then there's a little grommet here that you can have it come out and tuck up along here, and it looks a lot cleaner. You won't see it in the engine bay. Alright, so today's a new day. Didn't really get too far relocating the battery. I have my box back here and like the cable, and I'm starting to run it, but the main problem I had yesterday was taking off the fender so that I can tuck it. It'll come through this grommet and go up above here and then in this one. So it shouldn't be that much harder, but I'm gonna try to get out the battery box, which means I have to drill out some spot welds and stuff. So I guess my next step is unbolting some of this crappy plastic interior and pulling up the carpet, and then running the line, or the cable up through there so that I can get it through the grommet. That little bolt there and the one where the seatbelt goes right there, you're able to tuck the cable down underneath this ugly plastic interior, and then I might try to get it on the inside of this, but you pull up the carpet after you take off like the kind of the step platform or whatever you want to call it, and then you can tuck it under the seat belt down there, and then there's this little tunnel where the seat mounts to. There's a little hole underneath it, you just tuck it through. And then the next step is removing the ECU cover, and then maybe even the glove box, to try to find that grommet up there. So right now I have the cable routed like up around the ECU. And it's going towards the hole that I think is where the grommet is going, but the grommet is way too small, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut a little hole in it, make it a little bit bigger so that I can fit through a 0 gauge wire, because right now it's made only for this tiny wire. Alright guys, so I just got the cable to go through the grommet, well, I'm gonna have to cut a hole in it to get it to go through there, but I was able to feed it through. And the next step is going to be getting rid of these parts that kind of scare me that they would cut the cable. So I'm gonna bend this part right here, probably just with a sledge, and then take a cutting wheel and get rid of this, just so that it's smooth and it won't be cutting the wire. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is zip tie it to the wheel well or the fender using these holes, and maybe drill a few more just so that it's secure up there, because it would suck if it fell down and started rubbing on the tire. So I got my ground wire all set up. The twisted motion 0 gauge wire is smaller than, I guess, normal battery cable. So I got this AutoZone terminal clamp here, and the wire was too fine to be able to get clamped down in there. So I just folded it in half and then clamped it down, put some electrical tape, and then this is what's gonna go to the ground. Alright, sweet, that looks like it's gonna work pretty good. I'll just sand it down and then just bolt it back in there. Just gonna leave it kind of loose for now because I don't know where I'm gonna put the battery yet, but that takes care of our ground.
Yep, there it was. That was the one.
Beauty. Shout out to Fearless Mods. Doesn't looks cleaner now.
Yeah, gives you room to get in down there.
Alright, so my dad cleaned out the battery box and put some body filler in there and some etching primer. So gonna let that dry overnight and then paint it black like the rest of the engine bay, even though it looks gray right now because it's so ugly and dirty. While he was working on that, we set up the Mishimoto rad fans on my ISR radiator because I'm poor. So just to give you guys one more close look, the cable goes up past the ECU and the grommet's up here to the right. It's pretty easy to get through once you pop the grommet out. See, yeah, there's the grommet right there. ECU's right there. So it just goes up and out. And then I have it tucked under all the carpet here, underneath the rail for the seat. Let me focus. Underneath all the carpet, around the seat belt. Actually, yeah, I went around the seat belt because it wouldn't fit under there otherwise. Around this little plastic thing here. I don't really feel like going under it. Took that one bolt out there and then put it underneath all this plastic here. And of course down and around the seat. So it's tucked pretty good. I'm gonna try to put all the interior pieces back on and hopefully everything lines up and the carpet fits right. So with this cable tucked around the ECU, it wasn't giving me enough room to put this cover plate on, so I tried to Dremel a little bit off. I just needed to give it a little bit of a gap right there so that it would go over the cord, because the cord kind of pushes out the carpet here. So here's the final product of the tuck job. All I can see is this little bit of red right there by the ECU, but everything else looks just like it did before I started the relocation. I put the seatbelt back in. I skipped that part, but it's just one bolt down there. Okay, so here we are hours later, and I ended up putting the fuse in the front instead of in the back, bringing the power cable from the battery up into one side, and then this is the main power, and the alternator and starter, they're overlapped, and we just dremeled out the side of the fuse box there, and it fits right in. Kind of ugly, but good enough for now. And this is the first test. Gonna see if it works. Am I good? Yeah. Sweet. Soft lead thing, and you have to bend the whole thing to get it. So why don't you tell them how we build the battery box?
Okay, so we took the bottom of the battery box up front, which you saw us struggling with trying to get the spot welds and everything out of it, and it didn't quite fit down in here because it had the edges that would hold the battery as well, but that's what this is for. So we ground the edges off and got it to fit where it would set all the way down in there. And I would just brush the rust off of it and put some self-etching primer on it to keep it from rusting up, and that gives this baby some strength. Sweet.
You ready to take it out into the lake? Yeah. Alright guys, so I just finished the battery relocation. The car is still taken apart. It took me way longer than I wanted to do this. The main point was I just needed room to get the intercooler piping through right here, but then I ended up going all out. Like, I'm gonna end up painting this black like the rest of the engine bay. We did body filler, and I just did everything as clean as possible. Like, I really like the way this turned out. I mean, I just try to have as much attention to detail as possible. Making sure that everything lined up right. It really doesn't take up that much trunk room. Like, it's just kind of crammed here in the corner, and it's literally not going anywhere. If you guys have any questions on how to do your battery relocation, this is my first time ever doing it, but if you want to figure out how to do it the way I did, this is with the Twisted Motion kit. It's $55. It's the cheapest out there. It came with pretty much everything I needed minus the battery box, the terminal, the new little clamps for the battery terminals. I picked those up at AutoZone. It was like $10. Other than that, just one of these little clips to keep it out of the way right as it comes out, the grommet, and a whole lot of zip ties. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Stay tuned. Next video is probably going to be some gauge installs or fuel pump. Walbro 255 should get here sometime this coming week, along with my timing chain kit, which I can't use because I need my bearings still. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and take it easy.